So in este video, we're going to talk about our Spanglish, our mixed identities.
As first gens.
First gens, or as I like to call me and those that can relate to me, it's in-betweeners.
So we were going to do this Latina therapist channel. The inspiration was it was frustrating as Latina therapists to not have so many resources in Spanish. And the idea was we were going to connect with the Spanish speaking community and do a lot of these videos on Spanish. But then we were thinking some more.
Yeah, we're thinking us as a therapist can't be left out of this video and this creation. And when we started having this conversation and exploring like who we are as therapists, we are a first generation Latina therapist, which includes us being fluent in Spanish and in English. And for me, preferably in English, right? I speak more fluently, or there's more fluidity to it. So we definitely didn't want to just isolate a big portion of who we are.
Right. It started not feeling like us completely. And we were just kind of realizing we would be ignoring a big portion of the Latin community if we only did videos in Spanish. Like,
Right.
We needed to be more us and who we are. And I think being first gen, Spanglish, is so big of our language. And so we wanted to start off these videos by talking more about the in-between, right?
Yes.
Like what
code
is
switching.
Code switching, being first gen, what is it like to be bilingual? And hopefully I can connect with some of the things that we said.
Okay, so code switching. Code switching is actually a term for language. So when people learn different languages, they're able to choose, oh, I'm going to process this in one language and then translate it and then switch it and speak it into a different one or process it differently. It's a really cool ability that we as Spanish-speaking, bilingual people have. It's like a superpower. But it's not only in our language.
Yeah.
We code switch, and we realize this on a daily basis. If I'm going to walk into a coffee shop, I'm going to be in a certain identity. If I'm going into the panadería, pues señora, si me das 5 panes, por favor. I mean, it's not just the language, it's also like what I embody when I walk into certain places. What do you think?
Do you ever ask yourself, how Mexican can I be in this place?
Oh my God.
Because sometimes, honestly, like I feel like I can't, and that bothers me so much.
Okay, because I was going to say, I'm like, I don't know if I tell myself like how Mexican can I be, but I kind of tell myself like, oh my gosh, am I really this far removed now? That's my question. And then I'm like, no. Yeah, because then I'm like, it does bother me. I'm like, no, I want to know how to cook with all these ingredients.
Interesting. I think what happens to me is sometimes, and I hate when this happens and I'm trying to work on it, sometimes I feel getting looks, like if it's a primarily white location.
Okay.
Of, oh, what is she doing here? Something like that. And then I second guess, should I be here? Should I not?
Taking up that space.
Right. And then I kind of snap out. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, if I want to be here, I can. Like, I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be made feel bad just because, my skin's not completely like white,
Right.
Like I too can get coffee here if I wanted to.
Okay. Yeah. No, that definitely happens regularly, right? But I wonder what I probably go into a space and I definitely have doubts, and maybe I just think, okay, maybe this isn't the best place for me. Instead of saying, like, asserting myself and saying, I will be here and I deserve to be here, I think more of like, it's not really that welcoming, so I'm going to choose not to come.
I think that's a really good perspective to put. I think I don't know why. Maybe I still need to process that. Why I was being like so assertive about it. But then lately, I've noticing that it's like, okay, well, I should support more businesses that look and serve people like me.
I definitely have it, the code switching with whether I'm with my parents and whether I'm with like my husband or my friends that are now not Hispanic. I have this code switch and I love it, right? Like even my music in the car will switch.
Really?
Yes, yeah. I'm in the car and my mom's in. And I'm like, yes, I can listen to rancheras. And then
That's
if
funny.
my husband's in the car, I'm like, okay, we're just gonna play some Jack Johnson or some hip hop or something.
Really?
Yeah. And then, but that is definitely a place where like I have to like assert myself with this is who I am, and just because I'm married to you and you're not part of my culture doesn't mean that I have to give in.
Right.
So I will not stop listening to my Mexican music, but I will be considerate and acknowledge that sometimes we do have shared music preferences.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a constant like, how much can my Mexican come in here? My Mexican self.
Yeah.
How much of my Mexican identity can I bring into the food that I cook for my kids?
Oh, interesting.
How much will it be accepted? Like, how Mexican can I be with my friends?
I think that's definitely something that, I would ask myself a lot. I don't know if it's happening to you. I don't know, it's like I age. I want to cook more Mexican food, right? I want to tap into, my Mexican side even more. And so with this meaningful things like I want to make homemade tortillas, like I want to learn how to make like the big dishes like the menudo and the pozole and the tamales, because I don't know how to make those things. And part of me just kind of wants to really dive in and like truly
embrace it. I wonder if that's like a way of like proving how Mexican we are.
I don't know. I think it's
to ourselves, I guess, right? Because who are we gonna
maybe
get an award from?
Right. And I think that's I guess one of the issues for me, or difficulties maybe as a first gen, and I'm Mexican, but I'm also American. And so, I was born in Houston, and so I always felt American growing up. Right. But my parents are from Mexico. This difficulty of I guess identity.
Right. We do share that same background, right? My parents are from Mexico, as we have told you guys. And I grew up in an immigrant household, speaking only Spanish, eating only Mexican food, right? In a very populated Hispanic area. And then I did grow up American. But honestly, because I grew up in such a densely populated Hispanic area, I didn't even realize I was an other.
Really?
Yeah, until I was in 4th grade and we moved to Vegas. And I was like, oh, okay, so I don't speak everyone's language and I don't look the same. And that's when I started realizing, how do I fit in? And then I had to become very American because if that's how you're going to survive in 4th grade, you fit in. And in middle school and all of that. But now, because I've steered so far away from it, still like the foundation of my family, but you're right. I do have this like this need to continue to have those ties. And for me, it's very much a proving to myself that I don't waver from my roots and my foundation and my identity.
Right.
So it's a constant like going back and forth. And now with my kids, I'm just like, oh man, how much can I instill in them and have them have that pride, because they're so far removed from it now.
Right.
So I'm just like, it's like on overdrive now. I'm like, I take them to the panaderias, I take them to the Mexican stores, I take them, like, listen to the music. I try to pretty much like immerse them So at least they have some kind of tie to it. But I wonder, where are you guys with your code switching, with your identity? Does this resonate with you? And also, when did you realize that you had to live these two roles, these two worlds? I wonder if it was as early as us, or if it just came in high school, or also like those that are dreamers and that you were born in Mexico or whatever other Latin American country and then came here and then had to adjust to that way. Like, those would be so interested to hear from you guys in your comments, in your DMs, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, would be curious to know, you know, any specific things or struggles that maybe we also didn't even talk about today. You know, what is it like to balance two different cultures? You know, what has it been like to be first gen? And, you know, like, when and how do you know to code switch?
Right, yeah.
Right? Like, what instinct do you get that, okay, I need to do this right now?
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited to have these conversations with you.